Hello guys, welcome back to the studio. My name's Gary and I'm working on a new project. In this project I'm cutting some acoustic guitars and I'm using a new piece of gear to do it, and it's made my tracking process and my post-processing both much easier, much simpler than it's ever been for me. And before we start talking about this new piece of gear, I want to go ahead and dive right into the tracks. This is stereo hard pan electric guitars, bass down the middle, and acoustic guitar. Drums are going to come later. Sounds like this. Now you can really tell that that acoustic guitar is giving the track a lot of weight and a lot of impact that isn't there without the acoustic guitar. And I'm using a very minimal amount of processing. I'm using a Better Maker EQ mainly for high passing, but I'm cutting a little bit of 400 and I'm going into an 1176 and an LA2A plugin. Both of these, all of these things are very standard processing that you would do to acoustic guitar. Nothing extra. Just the bare minimum, right? And let's listen to the track soloed. I have it pan left at 30 and I've got reverb sending to the right just to add some cool effect. Solo track sounds like this. The new piece of gear I'm using that's making all of this happen is this microphone right here. It's the United Twin 87, and it's a clone of a Neumann U87. Actually, two Neumann U87s, the vintage and the modern U87. I think you should always track an acoustic guitar for your music. It's going to give you a harmonic content that you're not going to get anywhere else. It's also going to fill out the frequency spectrum in a very unique and pleasing way to the ear. It's also going to give you a power and a weight to your music that you're not going to get from an electric guitar or a bass or even a baritone. Go listen to the Rolling Stones Street Fighting Man. That driven guitar riff that pushes the song all the way through is an acoustic guitar through a heavily driven mic preamp. And the sound is not electric and not quite acoustic either. It's very unique and kicks ass. Also, if you track an acoustic guitar for your music and decide you don't want to use it later, all you have to do is mute the track, but you have it there. So why a U87 microphone? Well, there's a lot of considerations to make when buying a large diaphragm condenser or any microphone. It costs a lot of money. And the U87 is a microphone that has a very airy top end, but not harsh or brittle. Also, I wanted something with a switchable pickup pattern, so I had more versatility in the studio. Most of the time you're going to be on cardioid, but for this song and this track, I used the figure of 8. When I've been tracking before I had this microphone, I was using a dynamic or a small diaphragm condenser, either a SM57 or AKG P170 usually, and I didn't have any room to move. Wherever I pointed the microphone, I had to keep it right there. Any variation or movement from me would make the microphone change the guitar tone or even lose the signal completely. And this large diaphragm condenser type microphone has a much wider pattern, so you have some room to move around. Also, if you're a singer-songwriter and want to do everything on one track, record while you sing, this is another great reason to choose a large diaphragm condenser. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you dig content about music production, audio engineering, guitar pedals, guitars, analog rack gear, anything to do with music and how to make it. That's what I do, and I make a lot of those videos. Subscribe to the channel. Also, here's my PayPal if you're so inclined. And the music you're hearing right now is my new single, Pixel Palm Reader. Artist name is Thirsty Deer. It's up on all the streaming services. Go check it out. I put out a lot of music as well. I really do this stuff, and anything you can do to interact with the channel is appreciated. So let's listen to this track. This is, once again, 2 stereo electric guitars, but this time the acoustic guitar is kind of playing before the beat and before the electric guitars, and it's really lending it some power. And let me just let you hear it. This is stereo electric guitars, bass, and the acoustic slightly before the beat. It's the way I played it, and I liked how it sounded, so we kept it that way. Here we go. So you can hear there that the acoustic guitar is really kind of driving this whole thing. It's a very powerful thing when you can get that acoustic fitting in the track just right. Let's go ahead and solo it. It's the same track, so it's still paying 30 left and got the reverb on the right, just to let you hear how it sounds in solo. The people with the insane mic lockers are going to say there's no way that microphone does what a Neumann U87 does. And to this, I would say you're absolutely right that Neumanns have a special magic, and it's a sound we all know. It sounds like records. But for this price point, this microphone has the clarity and the sound of a U87 that I'm looking for. It has that air and that top end, that brightness that isn't over the top or harsh. It sits in the mix perfectly. This microphone sounds like records. And it has the features that I'm looking for with the Neumann U87. There's no corners cut here. It's got the switchable pickup pattern. It's got a 10 dB pad. It's got a great sounding high pass filter. And it's got the modern and vintage modes. Now, when I'm recording dialogue like this or singing, I usually use the modern mode, but on that acoustic guitar, I was using the vintage mode. The modern mode is going to give you a little more top-end clarity and give you a little bit of a volume bump as well. The vintage mode is a little warmer sounding. It's a great sound too. I use them both equally. They both have different uses here in my studio. And another feature of this microphone is it has the True Cardio mod, which is a modification that a lot of people have done to Neumanns to bypass all of the circuitry when you're in cardioid. This mic has it built in. So you're getting a lot of features in this microphone. There's no corners cut. A lot of times if you see a 47, 67, or 87 clone, it's just one pickup pattern to save money, to make it where it's affordable. This microphone doesn't do any of that. It's a great design, classic design, and it's the sound I'm looking for. We'll see you next time in the studio.